Hello everyone and welcome back to the EconomicExplorer101 channel. In this video, we're going to talk about two of the most important concepts in finance, the budget deficit and the budget surplus. In the first place, we will talk about the deficit and after the surplus. So what exactly is a budget deficit and why is it important? Let's find out. What is a budget deficit? A budget deficit is a situation that occurs when a government or an individual spends more money than it receives through revenue. In other words, if your expenses exceed your income, you are said to be running a deficit. When a government runs a deficit, it means that it is borrowing money to finance its spending. Governments issue bonds to borrow money from investors and pay interest on those bonds. Why is a budget deficit important? The budget deficit is important because it can have a significant impact on the economy. When a government runs a deficit, it can stimulate the economy by increasing spending on infrastructure, education, and other areas. However, if the deficit becomes too large, it can lead to inflation, a devaluation of the currency, and an increase in interest rates. Why deficits occur? There are many factors that can contribute to a budget deficit. Here are some of the most common reasons. Economic recession. During a recession or slowdown in economic growth, tax revenue tends to decline as people earn less and spend less. At the same time, public spending tends to increase as more people require assistance. Military spending. Governments that spend heavily on defense and security may find themselves running a deficit. Entitlement programs. Programs like Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid can be very expensive and contribute to deficits. Tax cuts. When a government cuts taxes, it reduces its revenue, which can lead to a deficit if spending is not adjusted accordingly. Interest payments. Governments that have borrowed a lot of money must pay interest on that debt, which can contribute to deficits. Demographic changes. As populations age and require more assistance, governments may spend more on programs like healthcare and pensions. How can we reduce the budget deficit? There are several ways to reduce a budget deficit. One way is to raise taxes, which would generate more revenue for the government. Another way is to reduce spending by cutting programs or increasing efficiency in government operations. Also, a government may try to grow the economy, which would increase tax revenue and reduce spending on assistance programs. So, in summary, a budget deficit occurs when spending exceeds revenue, and it's important because it can have a significant impact on the economy. There are many causes of a budget deficit and various ways to reduce it. It is important to carefully consider the impact of a shortfall before taking steps to address it. And now I will talk about the surplus. What is a budget surplus? A budget surplus occurs when a government or individual receives more money than it spends. In other words, if your income exceeds your expenses, you are said to have a surplus. When a government runs a surplus, it means that it has money left over after paying all its expenses. Why do surpluses occur? There are several factors that can contribute to a budget surplus. These are some of the most common reasons. Economic booms. During a period of economic growth, tax revenue tends to rise as people earn more and spend more. At the same time, government spending may not increase as quickly, leading to a surplus. Conservative fiscal policy. Some governments may intentionally set their budgets to be conservative, with lower spending levels and higher tax rates in order to generate a surplus. Sale of assets. Governments can sell assets such as land, buildings, or shares to generate revenue, which can contribute to a surplus. Reduced debt service costs. If a government has paid off part of its debt, it will have to pay less interest, which can free up money to contribute to a surplus. What are the effects of a budget surplus? A budget surplus can have several positive effects on the economy. For one, it can help pay off debt, which can lower interest payments and free up money for other penalties. In addition, a surplus can give a government more flexibility to invest in areas such as infrastructure or education. A surplus can also help stabilize the economy during a downturn, as a surplus government is better equipped to provide stimulus if needed. So, in summary, a budget surplus occurs when income exceeds expenses, and there are several factors that can contribute to it. Understanding surpluses is important because they can have a significant impact on the economy. A surplus can help pay down debt, provide investment flexibility, and stabilize the economy. And here's today's video. I hope you liked the video, and if you liked the video, do not forget to subscribe and give a like.